English grammar operates as an engineered system of interlocking parts. To understand how information is delivered, we must look at how these components are arranged and modified. I am Mr. Azazi, directed by Golden Horse. Today, we are analyzing sentences as mechanical assemblies to see how their internal structures can be altered without losing their meaning. In a standard active sentence, we identify two primary entities. The agent is the doer of the action. The patient is the receiver. To shift the focal point of the sentence to the patient, we use the passive voice. However, this transition requires a specific structural adjustment when the sentence contains a modal verb. Take this sentence from our primary dataset. The government should stop scientists from wasting money. Focus on the word should. Modals like should, can, or must define the timeline and necessity of an action. Moving the nouns into a passive structure without specifically adjusting these modals results in a tense error, causing the intended timeline of the action to be lost. Identifying these specific modal transformations is a requirement for parsing the complex passive structures found in scientific and governmental texts. We begin with the first phase of the investigation. Establish a clear, active data point. The active sentence, people should widely use technology, contains three blocks: subject, modal block, and object. In passive transformations, the subject and object swap positions. Now observe the remaining verb block, should use. Because technology cannot act, this syntax is incorrect. To repair the syntax and establish the passive state, we must introduce the auxiliary base verb be immediately after the modal. The main verb then shifts into its past participle form. The verb block is now should be used. We can now formalize the steps we just observed into a repeatable rule. The rule for present and future modals is object plus modal plus be plus the past participle. This formula successfully shifts the focus to the patient while preserving the original intention and timeline of the sentence. The second phase focuses on actions that occurred in the past. These require a different structural mechanism. Consider this data point describing a past hypothetical. Scientists might have cured diseases. The complex verb block here is might have cured. Because this is a perfect infinitive, we cannot simply insert the base verb be as we did in the previous rule. We have to identify a specific auxiliary element that can shift a perfect infinitive into the passive voice. To match the perfect aspect of the action, the auxiliary we add must also be in its past participle form. By inserting the word been between have and the main verb, we create might have been cured. This gives us the modified rule for past modals: object plus modal plus have been plus the past participle. Inserting been is the engineering step that allows a past tense hypothetical to exist in the passive voice without changing its meaning. In the third phase, we shift from verb transformations to sentence architecture, specifically focusing on correlative conjunctions. Rather than simple connecting words, these function as structural anchors that enforce logical balance. The primary pairings include both and, either or, and neither nor. We can see the symmetry in action here. You are either part of the solution or part of the problem. Notice that the phrase following the first anchor matches the phrase following the second. The rule is absolute. The grammatical type of the phrase following the first conjunction must exactly match the phrase following the second. Failing to maintain this parallelism disrupts the expected symmetrical pattern. It breaks the internal logic of the sentence, which weakens the clarity of the overall argument. We will now begin the interactive stress test. You have 10 seconds per question to apply these formulas to raw test materials. Question 1 covers the present and future modal rule. This document shows question 1. You have to pay the bill before leaving the restaurant. Select the correct passive transformation. The prompt on screen asks you to join these two sentences. Iman plays tennis. Emily plays tennis too. The answer is option A. Joining these subjects with both and creates a plural subject, requiring the verb to shift from plays to play. That concludes our test. You have successfully applied these structural rules to real-world exam data. Mastering English syntax at this level is about identifying and deploying an engineered system of logic to ensure clarity and accuracy in communication.